Good afternoon, friends. Welcome back. Today we're going to take a break from working on motorcycles and we're going to work on a chainsaw. A little backstory on this beast here. This is a Poulan Pro. The model number is PP4218A. It's a 42cc chainsaw. This was given to me a while ago and unfortunately it is completely locked up. Now, when I emptied the fuel out before I brought it in today, I noticed that the fuel was just fuel. I don't believe there was any mixture in it at all. There was no oil in that gas. So I'm assuming that that's the issue, that this thing was run on straight gas. And because there was no additive in it, no oil in it, this thing locked itself up. Also, when I drained the oil out of this thing, I noticed that the oil was very thick and very dark, and it felt like a heavyweight motor oil. So again, I don't believe that was bar oil. I'm thinking this thing probably has some real big problems here, but today we're going to dive into it. We're going to take this thing apart, we're going to check it all over, and we're going to see what kind of solutions we can possibly come to. If I can't fix the thing, I've taken it apart and I've shown you how to do that, right? But I'm thinking what I'll do is I'll get this thing apart, hopefully dive into what the issues could be, find a solution to fix this thing, and hopefully be able to make it run. Now I know people have told me that I can pour Marvel Mystery Oil down the spark plug hole and I can let that soak and I could potentially bring this thing back. But if the cylinder and the cylinder walls are scored too bad, this thing will smoke like crazy. Eventually it will just lock back up again. I'm thinking it's not worth it to do that, so I'm just going to go ahead and dive into taking this thing apart. Let me get you guys moved around here so you can see what I'm working on and we'll show you how to take it all apart. Now this is a new endeavor for me. I've never actually taken a chainsaw apart. I know kind of how they work and I've seen a few videos on how to do this, so I'm going to go ahead and muddle my way through it. But one of the things I want to start with is taking off the chain itself. So I don't need the bar and chain. That's just going to get in the way. I'm going to have to move it around. So we're going to start here and we're going to take this apart. The bar is held on with these two bolts right here on the side. These are a 13 millimeter. With those two nuts removed there, we can go ahead and pull this outer cover. As you can see, the bar itself is starting to come loose. Now we can go ahead and back the bar up. We can pull the chain assembly off. And we'll put that out of the way. With that removed, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to screw these nuts back into place and just leave them there so I don't lose them. Next, I want to go ahead and remove this top cover. So there's a series of screws in here to remove that. I'm going to go ahead and take that off. With the top cover off, we can kind of see the guts to everything here. We can see our spark plug. We can see our carburetor assembly, which is looks like it's rough. It's obviously full of sawdust, so the filter is going to have to be replaced or changed, or maybe even possibly cleaned. I'm not sure if I can clean that out or not. And of course, there's our carb assembly. We'll have to remove that next. Our spark plug boot has been taped a few times, so this thing probably wasn't in good shape to begin with. We'll go ahead and we'll pull the plug here, and then we'll pull our carburetor itself. Okay, in order to remove the spark plug, it's a 19 millimeter socket that I've got here. I don't probably have the proper socket wrench for it, but this should take it out. And someone has adapted this. It looks like there's some wire wrapped around here. I've never seen that before, so there's like a baling wire wrapped around to hold that in place. It's an NGK plug. A little light brown, so it doesn't look like it was running bad, but maybe it was. Next, let's work on this carburetor here. It has two, there are 8 millimeter nuts there, and then it has a, say, T25 up top here. So we'll go ahead and we'll take this off next. Next, we'll unplug the sensor here. With the plastic intake off, we need to remove the throttle here. This should just twist out of place. It should have a hook on it. See, it's got a hook in there. So you push this in and twist it over. Get that out of the way. We can lay this on its side here. We could probably back that all the way out now. It's out of the way enough. Next, we need to go ahead and get this carburetor removed. Carburetor pulls out of the way. We can go ahead and disconnect the hoses. I'm not sure if these will be reused or if I'll have to get new ones. Since this bottom carburetor line is pretty petrified in place, I'd like to remove this cover so I get a little more access to everything. That should go to the primer bulb, I believe, and I want to be able to get this thing removed, so I need that line off. With that, I need to remove this side cover, so I need to remove the pull start handle here. What I've done is I fished this out and I've connected a set of vice grips on the bottom to hold the line in place here so I can get some working room and don't have so much tension on it. This is unfortunately very, very hard line. I mean, this is pretty much petrified at this point. So I'm hoping I can maybe, with a pick here, fish this out and get this figured out and get it to loosen up. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to get it or not. I may have to cut it, and this may be another part I have to buy. I'm hoping to try to salvage as much as possible, but I don't know. I might have to soak this a little bit, maybe a little bit of oil or something will loosen this rope up here so I can be able to back it out of there. So I'm going to fish with this for a little bit and try to get it to come apart. I finally have it undone. It did take soaking this in a little bit of PB Blast. I did get a couple of picks in here to kind of cross everything up and pull on, and then I was able to get a couple of screwdrivers in between and then pull everything apart. So I am able to fish this off now, and I will let this go so it will retract the rest of the way in, which is fine. And then we'll go ahead and pull the side cover. Now there's a series of screws, one here, and one in the front. There's actually one on the bottom that I missed, so I want to make a point to show you guys there's one down here. So there's actually 4 in this side cover. All right, with the side cover removed, I can kind of see that this does go to this primer bulb here. I should be able to pull the primer bulb out. Not sure what holds that in place. Maybe I can pull the line off of that. Great. Now that I was able to pull the line off that primer bulb, I'll have to work on getting this one off. So maybe I'll heat it a little bit, clean it up. This whole carburetor I'm going to try to put into the ultrasonic and clean it up. Hopefully it will be able to be cleaned. I'm not sure if these can be serviced or not. I know it's very dirty, but I'd like to get this thing soaking. So hopefully I'll be able to save this. Now from the bottom side of the saw, we do need to go ahead and remove the handle. So I'll have to pull these screws here, and I believe there's another one on the top. But I'm going to start with the bottom here. We'll get these all undone. Okay, I have chosen not to pull the whole handle off. It looks like I'm going to have to take everything off to be able to get that. And I don't want to pull the whole throttle assembly apart either. So hopefully I can do it this way. I've just moved it out of the way. Next, there are 4 studs here. These should be to remove the head, I believe. And those are a 7mm. Pretty sure. Yep, 8mm, excuse me. 8mm stud. So we'll go ahead and loosen those up. Now I do realize that the cylinder and the piston are fused together because this thing is stuck. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove this spring assembly here from the back of the head. I'm just going to prepare this thing to be able to be removed. I do have some Marvel Mystery Oil soaking in the spark plug hole here. We'll see if that will help out at all. With the top 2 intake studs removed, there are 2 underneath as well. I did have to get my shorty wrench out, and I'll be able to back these out, I believe. And with our bottom intake studs removed, we have the intake taken out. So this is all complete. I can put my studs back in this. And this will need to be cleaned too. This may get ultrasonic as well. Now we've got our cylinder here, and obviously this thing is going to move with the flywheel because it is stuck. So I need to finish removing this stud here. And then what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to put the base studs back in the bottom of this thing. And I think I'm going to attempt to rotate this with my impact. All right, with our cylinder studs back in place, I'm going to attempt to rotate this around with my impact. Now I am turning this to the right, thinking that this will hopefully free up that piston. So we'll give it a little short burst here. It is turning, and I am flying oil everywhere. With that, I have freed up the piston in here, so it does rotate now. It still doesn't want to rotate all the way around, and it's going to try to lock up again. So we'll get this down as far as possible, all the way to the bottom here. So now it's completely on the bottom. I'm going to flip this back up. I'm going to pull my cylinder studs back out of place, and then we'll go ahead and remove this head. Now with the cylinder studs out of the way, I should be able to remove this cylinder all the way, I believe. Now, I know that the exhaust is kind of in the way, and maybe I need to take that off. Maybe I just need to move it back and out of the way. Looking at the cylinder itself, you can see some pretty heavy scarring on the piston itself. It's very rough. It's very rough at the top here. The bottom isn't too smooth. I could see it really heavy on the intake side as well. And of course the other side is equally as gross. So my opinion on this is this needs to be replaced. This piston is no good. I know that you can hone the cylinder out, run a bigger ring, run it a little looser, and it should be just fine. But I'd like this thing to run and run. I would like to rebuild it so it's good. I can feel it real heavy in the cylinder wall as well. And in my opinion, because these things are not that expensive, there's no point in keeping this together this way. I might as well just buy a new cylinder and a new piston. I will have to remove the exhaust, and I will have to order parts. I guess the next steps for me is to go ahead and clean up all of the bottom here and check my bearings and see how they are. Now that I've made a giant mess, I need to go ahead and get some of these parts in the ultrasonic cleaner. So the next step is going to be firing that thing up, getting it heated to temperature, and getting these parts soaking. I also need to order some parts. So I'm going to need a piston, I'm going to need a cylinder, I'm going to need a carburetor rebuild kit. I may even order a whole complete carburetor since I see they're kind of cheap online. I'm not sure if they're any good. So I'm going to do some parts referencing, probably watch some videos, and see what's really good out there. But at this point, I'm as far as I'm going to go with the saw. I need to get these parts, of course, cleaned up. I do need to get the piston off of the connecting rod here, so I'll have to mess with that a little bit. There's a little spring clip in there that I have to find the right size pick to get in there and get that piston off. Once I have that off and I have my parts, then it's time for reassembly. If you guys are looking forward to that video, stay tuned. If you're not subscribed to the channel yet, hit that subscribe button. If you want to see this thing go back together, that'll notify you and you'll know that it's coming out. If you like the video, give it a like, give it a thumbs up. I really appreciate that feedback. If you have questions or comments, please drop them in that comment section below. I need to clean up here, get the ultrasonic running, and then get on to the next project, so I'm getting off of here. We'll catch you guys next time.